Where does your plastic go? Environmental Defense, a Canadian environmental advocacy organization that focuses on defending clean water, safe climate, and healthy communities, says that less than 11% of Canada's plastic gets recycled. The rest ends up in landfills.
And we know that the more plastic there is, the more microplastics we're going to have, and that ends up in our water and our food chain. We know that we all have plastic inside us, so we don't really know the effects of microplastics on humans, but we do know, we've seen pictures of the devastation on animal life.
Though Canada has been working towards implementing a single-use plastic ban, people are using 250 to 300% more single-use plastics because of the pandemic, according to the International Solid Waste Association.
Well, we've got tons of PPE, and not just in hospital settings, but people are wearing them. And I mean, how many masks do we see laying on the street? And or rubber gloves left behind, plastic gloves left behind in shopping carts. I just know myself going to the store, you know, can you buy mushrooms now loose that are, you can put in paper? Can you, you know, like the peppers are in plastic. There's just so many more items that are in plastic. And I think the other part of it is, you know, people are reluctant to pick up litter. I picked up actually a dirty mask off my front lawn, and the person beside me said, you shouldn't be doing that. But, you know, I picked it up by the ear thing and marched it to the garbage can and went in and washed my hands. So people are afraid to be picking up the litter also.
There are reports of entanglement in ocean creatures getting caught up in the, you know, the ear loops of masks, and ingesting them. You know, the terrible problem of turtles and other species that are eating plastic bags because they think they're jellyfish. They look like jellyfish, and they're packed with plastic. They die, and you know, 40 pounds of plastic has been found in whales. It's so pervasive, and if you see some of the pictures of people who actually in other countries who have, you know, warmer climates, and they're fishing in a sea of plastic, like just the boat is going through this tanglement of plastic. It's awful.
The Government of Canada predicted that because of COVID-19, 63,000 tons of personal protective equipment could end up as waste.
The major one is the surge of personal protective equipment, so PPE. So things like cleaning supplies, gloves, masks, the gowns that they use in healthcare settings that are made of a very thin fabric that are only used once, and cleaning wipes. So these are all single-use materials that end up in landfills or in the environment. A recent study that came out in December, I think it was, estimated that throughout the pandemic, 129 billion face masks and 65 billion gloves have been used monthly around the world. So that's obviously resulting in some widespread environmental impacts.
There has been no directions on how to properly dispose of PPE material, according to Caitlin Perry from the Circular Innovation Council and Jan Vanderwall and Jay Scott from Stop Plastics.
Not really any, there's not currently any widespread recovery options for PPE, mainly for two reasons, because the masks, like things like masks, and they contain like multiple materials, and the plastics that they're made out of, there's no market for them for recycling, and also for sanitary reasons, obviously. So they just get incinerated or landfilled. as a consumer, we really need to ensure that people don't throw PPE into the recycling bin. A lot of people, I think particularly at the beginning of the pandemic, people we're thinking that they could just put it in the recycling bin and hope that it would get it recycled, but really it just can get stuck in the sorting equipment at the recycling centers and really causes damage to the machines. And it's also a health hazard for people who work in the recycling center. So municipalities are really focusing their communications on making sure that people are throwing out their PPE in the garbage once they're finished with it. And another thing is the single-use cleaning wipes. Those also, I think at the beginning of the pandemic, people, because some of the packaging says that those are flushable. And so despite what the packaging says, some people they're actually not flushable, and some people were still flushing them, and it was causing a lot of issues and clogs in municipal sewage systems. So
it is not just PPE that is causing pollution. Oceana, an organization that focuses on preserving ocean life, found that in 2019, Canada had 21.3 million kilograms of packaging waste from Amazon, the e-commerce site.
People at home now, cities have seen, some of the major cities in Canada have seen upticks in residential waste. So major contributors to this have been more e-commerce shopping rather than in-person shopping. So now that people are buying stuff online, they're not just buying the product and the packaging it came with, they're also generating more waste associated with that product coming to them. So a box or the envelope and the plastic wrapping that it comes with. Another major thing is with restaurants being closed and everything being switched to takeout, we're now having to deal with the plastic takeaway containers that the food comes in, and the plastic utensils. A lot of restaurants use the black plastics that in their takeout operations, and most municipalities don't accept that in their recycling program because the recycling sorting facilities can't, the machinery can't identify the color, so it kind of messes up the whole system.
I think all three levels of government need to step up to the plate, and we need to stop wasting taxpayers' money, and the Ford government needs to embrace the federal plan to deal with this issue and not fight it in court repeatedly.
If changes are not made quickly to reduce microplastics, which are tiny plastic particles that result from the breakdown of larger plastics, Get Green Now says that by 2050 there will be more plastic than fish in the sea. For the Ryerson, I'm Alyssa Hibbs.